Hi, this is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert, helping you and your teams power up. And today I want to talk about how to get more positive attitudes, positive mindsets on your senior living teams. So I know that sometimes it's just hard to show up in that happy place every day, right? And sometimes our teams get dragged down into this negativeness. So today I want to give you some action steps about how you can help change that around, make people a little more positive, make mindsets more positive in senior living. I'm going to tell you about how Jerry Maguire showed me how you can do this and what it really means to be in senior living and showing a positive attitude. Well, stay till the end because first we're going to talk about Jerry Maguire and then I'm going to give you some of those tips to use with your teams. So, if you are not familiar with the film Jerry Maguire, which came out in 1996, I hope you go and power that up into your Netflix or wherever you get your streaming movies because Jerry Maguire was kind of this down and out sports agent. Well, he wasn't down and out until he created a manifesto. See, he wanted sports agency to be more heart centered. He was tired of the business of sports agenting. It was all about the money. Well, in a big upset of his career, he ended up losing a bunch of his clients and being ousted from his agency. He was left with one client, and that one client was Cuba Gooding Jr. And his character was also kind of this down and out guy. He was aging in his football career. He was showing up and not getting in the game the way he should have. Well, the whole movie comes to a head, and the reason I'm telling the story in one scene when Jerry is mad at Cuba's character because he says, "You know what? You know why you aren't getting this contract?" See, they weren't going to renew his contract, and he had a family and he wanted a $10 million contract. And Jerry says, "They're not going to do it because you know what? You're playing with your head and not your heart." And I love that because Jerry goes on to say, with your home life, with your wife, with your family, it's heart, heart, heart. You get on the field and you're mad at everybody or you're angry about this situation and it gets in the way of your game. That might be happening in senior living. Before COVID, it was all heart. So many times we felt the heart stories. We were playing with our hearts, right? Caring for the frail and the fragile and the grandmas and the grandpas. And then COVID came along, and all of a sudden we had to do a lot more head thinking. We had to think about the regulations. We had to think more about safety. And we've sort of lost this thought about heart-centered organizations. And so maybe that might be why we're seeing some negativity creep in, or the mindset around senior living is not as positive because it's had to be head centered. Well, I want to encourage you to get back to, as Jerry says, heart centered work. And what are some ways that you can do that on your teams so that attitudes begin to change? The profession is elevated. We see this thing that we do every day is so important. Well, first, go back to why am I in senior living? Have that conversation with your peers, with your team, with your front line. Why are you here? Begin to elevate the importance. Ask for those statements. Why is senior living important to you? Why is it important to you to help these people? Just begin weaving those conversations back into your daily huddles, your daily meetings, your daily correspondence. Next, ask your team members to really connect with their favorite residents. Make this an activity. How do I work with this resident? Or what does this resident need from me? Or I've seen some wonderful videos out there, and this is a great opportunity. You use your social media. One young man just sat and had dinner with somebody who really didn't like to eat with that many other people, and they formed this bond, this friendship. What are those heart-centered activities that everyone in your organization does each day with the resident? Start to tell those stories. Really engage with the relationships. And then that goes along with number 3, acknowledge those heart-centered activities. When you see it happening, maybe you have a name for that. Maybe there's something that, like the football players get on their helmets when they make a good play. They get those stickers. Often that's in college and high school. But what are those plays, those heart-centered things that happen on your teams? And how can you be acknowledging them? And then you might do a PR campaign with some local media, newspapers, and just to really begin to elevate again. Have one of those, I'm in senior living because, but take it out into the community and really let them know and let them see how heart-centered you are. And we know that half of all the people that come into our communities are really close by, and they come in because they hear from a friend or they see something. So start to tell those stories even on a bigger level. And then, of course, begin to use your social media more and more for those heart-centered stories. We see so many of them come out. And of course, activities professionals do get a lot of those things going because that's how they see the residents. But those stories just about how everybody engages on a daily basis. It doesn't necessarily have to be in an activity. Tell the stories. Those are the things that are going to shift the mindsets, shift from negative to positive. It's so important. Creating a heart-centered campaign, a heart-centered mission. It might take a team. Maybe, you make a team up of people who are going around noticing these things. That's important too. Back when my kids were in school, they would have this thing, it was called We Caught You. And it was like, we caught you doing a heart-centered activity. So I hope these tips help you begin to shift those mindsets, shift those negative attitudes back to positive, and really begin to elevate what we do for seniors. Because they are the frail and the fragile and the grandmas and the grandpas. And what you do in senior living is so important for them. So this is Kathy Perry, corporate energy expert, helping you power up yourselves, your senior living teams, so that you can stay engaged and help those who need you. Thanks so much for watching.